Welcome back to another Star Wars Armada Explained. Today we're going to be looking at the boarding team Darth Vader. And it is a weapons team offensive retrofit dual card, meaning that you need to have both a weapons team slot and an offensive retrofit slot. How can you tell? If you look down there in the bottom left hand corner of the card, you will see both of those icons there. Darth Vader is an Imperial faction only equipable card. How can you tell? If you look on the opposite side of the card, right next to how many points it costs, which is 3 points, you'll see the Imperial symbol there, meaning that Darth Vader can only be equipped to Imperial ships. And now, you can't equip this card if there's only one of those symbols showing. It has to have both symbols. You can have multiple of these symbols, potentially mean you could equip multiple, boarding trooper cards or boarding team cards. But for Darth Vader specifically, he needs to have there needs to be at least a weapons team slot on there, and he needs to be a defensive retrofit slot. Also, Darth Vader is a unique card, and he's not just a unique card; he's a unique person in this situation. So you see that bullet point there in front of his name, Darth Vader. It means that if you have any other Darth Vaders in your fleet, you need to decide which one you want to bring. For example, you've got Darth Vader the Commander, and you have Darth Vader the Squadron. He flies a TIE Advanced. And now you have Darth Vader the Trooper, the boarding team. So you can only have one of these in play at a time. He can only be in one place. There's no bunch of clones running around of Darth Vader. You can only have one of these in play at a time. So you can't have all three of these running on the field. So that's something to take into account. So for the Darth Vader card, let's go ahead and read it. It says, when you reveal a command, you may discard a squadron dial or token and this card to choose one enemy ship at close range. Choose and discard one non-commander upgrade card equipped to that ship. So there literally is no card in the game that you can't just send Darth Vader up to and then just go yoink, and Darth Vader comes up with his lightsaber and he cuts it up and he carves his name in the side of the hole, and then he is I don't know where he goes after that. I don't know if he stays on the ship. I don't know if he gets back on the ship he came in on. Who knows? So how does this card work? So for example, we'll say that this Raider, he came in and he's now at close range of the Star Destroyer. He's going to activate. So as long as that Raider is revealing either a squadron dial or has a squadron token banked, or if you have both, for example, if really revealing a dial and a token, I mean, you can choose which one you want to use. But with close range, so this activates as soon as you reveal a command. You can't do it after you attack or move or anything like that. It has to be done when you reveal your command dial for the equipped ship, which is we'll say Vader's equipped to this Raider. So, for example, maybe this Imperial Star Destroyer has the Avenger title equipped. You can choose that and cut that up and throw it off. Maybe he's got the Officer, Wolf Yar equipped on there. You can take him, chop him off, toss him out an airlock. Maybe it's the pesky Abnomition MC-30, card, the title for that ship, which makes it very difficult to kill. Darth Vader comes up, boom, boom, there goes his lightsaber, he cuts it up, and that ship no longer has a title. He scraped it off the hull. So as far as card interactions go, there is actually a very unique case. And I'm just going to double check here. I don't think there's any other card interactions where this potentially is going to be a problem. For the most part, everything is pretty cut and dry. Oh, right. So any cards like, here, let me pop out early warning system. Let me pop out, the fleet commands, for example. Let's see here. Is there anything else? I should have had these cards ready already, but it's just kind of like, oh yeah, I just kind of forgot about them. I don't think there's anything else that I need to worry about, or I mean, this should pretty much cover the example. I know you see these two face down cards right here. I'll get to those. So let's talk about, for example, fleet commands. So if you did send Darth Vader up and chop up a fleet command, if that person has already activated that card beforehand, it still continues. Um, because this is at the start of the ship phase, is when you essentially have the ability to activate that card, and that's for any fleet command. So as long as that fleet command has already spent the appropriate token to activate, or maybe it's already discarded itself, which case you can't discard it again. That fleet command is still active, even if Darth Vader comes up and chops it off. Now, obviously, you can't use that card again moving forward in any future rounds, but if it's already activated, that effect continues. You can't remove it for that round. Another thing too is early warning system, because early warning system, again, it's at the start of the ship phase. You choose one of your hull zones and mark it with a chaff token. So even if Vader comes up and chops up that early warning system, its effect is already triggered for that round, and that chaff token will remain until the end of the round. It won't stay forever. Some people could argue, oh, now that you've chopped up the card and it doesn't say anything of it, don't be that guy. Your chaff token only remains until the end of the turn. So as soon as it's the start of the next turn, you gotta take the chaff token off there. But so again, Darth Vader comes up, chops that up. If he's already activated the chaff and it's already been assigned, let's for example, we'll say it's already been assigned to the front of the Star Destroyer there. It stays in effect for the rest of that round, or for the rest of that turn at least. Sorry for the coughing. Now let's get to some really interesting aspects, and this has caused quite a bit of some arguing, not in terms of arguing of like heated, but just in terms of debate and figuring out if Darth Vader affects these two cards, Bail Organa and Governor Price. So let's talk about that. Like, why wouldn't Darth Vader be able to affect these cards? Well, it's the timing of them. So both cards, the timing of them is after deploying fleets, you may place one round token on this card. And for Bail Organa, it's essentially, you at the start of the round token, if you're the second player, you can activate a ship first, or if you're first player, you gain 2 tokens on that turn. For Governor Price, it's you place 1 round token on the card, and when you get to that turn, that ship activates last in that turn. So if Darth Vader, for example, was to fly up and chop up one of these cards, what happens if, for example, he did it on the turn of that card? So let's say Governor Price was to be triggered for round 2 and Bail Organa was to be triggered for round 2. What happens when Vader comes up and chops up one of these cards and he discards Governor Price, for example? Well, the round token is still there. So the timing of these cards is after deployment. That's when the effect has been triggered. So once you've put the round token on the card, you've already triggered the effect, you've declared the use, and pretty much from that point, the argument is that Darth Vader couldn't remove that card effect even if that card is discarded, because the round token is still there. Now, that's not a hard rule. It is something that is being discussed, to this day, still by TOs and rule gurus, and it has been forwarded to FFG to make a FAQ for. Now, again, this is I'm going to state now, my personal opinion is that I would believe that when Darth Vader comes up and chops up one of those cards, if they've, he would not be able to remove their effects. I think their effects would stay in play. So that is just kind of like one of those things, like, those are not optimal cards that I feel like Darth Vader should target. Now, again, it all depends on your TO. Ask your TO at a tournament if this situation comes up, because he may rule that it does remove that card's effects completely, and that's up to him, because there is no current ruling about that right now. But that's just an interesting dynamic. Obviously, when there is a ruling that has been declared, I will make sure to redo this video to make sure that I'm presenting the most accurate information that I can. But that's something to keep in mind with interaction with Darth Vader and some of these cards is you kind of have to keep in mind that timing. So thanks for watching Star Wars Armada Explained. I'll catch you guys next time.